And good evening everyone, welcome to episode 7 of How's That Guy a WCS Driver? GT3 Challenge Series as normal, we are at Phillip Island this week. One of the shorter tracks that the series sees. We're doing 1 minute 26 sort of laps in qualifying, so yeah, pretty short place compared to say Suzuka where we were last week, where we were running what, 2 minute laps I think they were. This is unusually actually my second race of the week for my recorded video. Did a quick race last week, which was last night, sorry, which was good fun. Didn't split, so it wasn't a great sort of strength of field or anything, but it was good fun. Yeah, I had good fun at Suzuka last week as well, but I mean the video recorded, the race that was recorded, let's get my words out, was pretty uneventful, but the couple after that were quite scruffy really. I got quite a lot of incidents between the two races, so my safety rating has taken quite a hit, and I need to be careful with it to make sure I don't lose my WCS license or anything silly. So the race last night was just trying to make sure we built up a bit of safety rating and managed that not too bad, just one incident. So really I just want to try and do the same tonight. I don't mind if I'm a little bit off the pace maybe, as I just try and make sure I don't make any silly mistakes, don't take too many risks. Just want a nice clean race really, if I can build my safety racing back up again a bit. I started last night on the left side of the grid like we are here, and that worked out pretty well. It meant I had the inside for the tricky turn 2, so hopefully it'll just be a little bit easier to control other people around us a bit if we need to. So hoping for the same again. This race tonight has split, so we have got a little bit of a stronger strength of field. I mean, it's still relatively early in the week, so it's a Thursday night. It's actually only 4 o'clock GMT, so again, not the strongest turnouts that you might see, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do any other races this week. This is going to be the last one now. So like I say, just want to try and get a clean start, clean getaway. Pace car's going to peel off quite early, so we need to make sure that we're awake and ready in case the leader bolts.
Stand and a pizza stand right behind our pit box. Alright, man. Pace car's off. Be ready. Ready.
So I missed it a little bit there, but not too bad. I think we've just got the edge over Fabio, who's just on my blind spot on my right still.
One on the right side. You're clear. On your right. Still there. Clear by half.
Cool. So yeah, having that inside line for turn 2 has worked pretty well, just as I hoped. So we've made up the spot actually on Fabio then. We're up into 3rd. Front 2 are going to bolt away, I think. So it looks a pretty clean start as far as I can see in my mirrors. Not any big gaps in the field or anything, so everyone looks like they've had a relatively clean first half of a lap at least. I could just feel myself tracking out there on the penultimate corner. The leader takes a real excursion, just about hangs on to it. Yeah, I could feel myself tracking out there, so we just got a wheel on the grass, but we just about got away with not getting an off track, let alone actually struggling itself.
Clear.
Just about okay to Fabio still. Had this inside line again for turn 2. So yeah, the end of the lap there really put me under unnecessary pressure from Fabio, but we just hung on again for now. A little bit late on the brakes that time. So yeah, with the little excursion down the front straight a minute ago, Saber's taken over the lead in front, so it'll be interesting to see if they keep battling as we go through the race. Let's make sure we get this line properly this time. That was a bit better, and I think Fabio struggled a little bit into that tight right-hander at the bottom of the hill, so he's lost out a fair bit as we missed the apex completely on that final corner though. So really lost again a big advantage it would gained from a couple of corners back. Alright, let's get the apex in turn 1 this time, now that we don't have Fabio to worry about. A better braking point that time, but we just rolled off the brakes a tiny bit early, so didn't quite get the line as we wanted it through the hairpin. That was okay through that one. So yeah, looks like the leaders are staying pretty close together, 4 tenths between them for now. So from my point of view, I hope they just keep squabbling away a little bit and don't end up disappearing down the road too quickly. Just a little bit wide through Lukey Heights. Let's make sure we get the apex this time. Just about okay. Again, it was tracking out a little bit more than I'd wanted really. Okay, so that was a better turn 2 for there that time. Managed to get on the power more at the time that I was planning. Still lost a couple of tenths to Fabio though, but I think that was about as good as I'm going to take that really. Ooh, second gear, just about got there for the hairpin. Quite fortunate not to get an off-track point there, trying to look after this safety rating again. Just trying to stay much tighter through Lukey Heights than we have on the previous couple of laps. It was a bit better on that one. So that was a better exit that time, didn't push me out quite so much. So Fabio's just half a second behind, but then we got a little bit more breathing space back to 5th position and back from there. A little bit early, just resting on the brake into turn 1 that time. So this is a half-hour race, by the way. We're expecting, I think it was 21 laps that we had yesterday. Just understeering on the exit, coming out of the turn there. Didn't really get on the power as we wanted, so that's allowed Fabio right back up with us again. So yeah, getting those last couple of corners a little bit better. Didn't really want to take quite so much of the inside curb on the penultimate corner, but the final one was not so bad. Fabio closing back up in the slipstream again. That was a better timing onto the brake into turn 1 on that one. So the leaders are just separated a little bit now, about a second between Saber and Akos there. And so I didn't have any problems that time getting on the power at least. Just managed to build a little bit more space to Fabio as a result. Bit of breathing room. Fabio is a name I've known for quite a long time from GP260. We're talking about Paul Nelson a week ago at Suzuka, and Fabio is another one who ran in arl-tv's GP260 League a few seasons ago now in Star Mazda. See him quite often in GT3s as well. Right, so we've got a bit more breathing room this time. Fabio was just 2 tenths behind, I think, at the end of last lap. Now we're 6 tenths gap. A little bit early onto the brake that time into turn 1. And Fabio has blinked a few times now in the race. I haven't really seen him jumping around at all, so hopefully we're not going to have any kind of lag sort of issues if we start swobbling a little bit, but it's not got a perfect connection for now. So we're just managing to build a little bit of a gap to the cars behind Fabio. They just touch over 2 seconds behind now, so hopefully we can keep breaking away before, if we do get involved in any kind of battle, so at least our 3rd, 4th position would be fairly safe hopefully. But I suspect I'm holding Fabio up a little bit at the minute. He's going to have a much better run towards the hairpin this time.
On your right. Clear.
Ooh. Okay, nearly got a car contact there as I tried to cut back under, but didn't quite get the timing right. Alright, let's try not to let him just scamper away. Let's make sure we stay with him. Another blink from him as we go. So just keep taking a little bit too much inside curb on that penultimate corner each lap really. And Fabio just a touch wide on the exit, but doesn't cause him a problem at all. And another big blink again.
Right side.
Oof, cool, that could have been a little bit closer than we really wanted. I wasn't necessarily going for the move there, of course, but we see him run a little bit wide mid-corner. Still right there alongside me still.
next to you. Still there. Clear.
So just as I was talking about a minute ago, us squabbling around has just allowed the cars behind to close right back up again. Wasn't quite able to stay on the power on the exit there, just as again we tracked out a little bit wide. Just ended up slowing down a little bit too much that time on the apex really. So the leaders have closed back up again, just 3 temps again between Saber and Aquasat. Okay, so we get away with just running a little bit hot in there. But didn't really get away with it quite as much in that corner, did lose a reasonable chunk of time. Looks like there's a little bit of an instant behind at some point. There's a little bit of a bigger gap now behind 5th than there was a moment ago when I last checked in those mirrors. Not very good through there that time, quite late on the power. Sliding around as well. Fabio just running a little bit wide I thought, but managed to hold that line fairly happily by the end of the relay it looked like. Weaving back and forth. A little bit early, slowing down for turn 2 that time, but we just about, I was going to say we just about got away with it, but then we got on the power a little bit early, just had to keep waiting again. Right, let's try and just close back up to Fabio now. We've just dropped off a little bit really in this lap. Just outbrakes himself slightly going in, but doesn't really cost him too much time. That was a little bit better that time entering. Better not quite taking the inside curb that time, but made up for it in the final corner instead. Alright, so we gained a little bit on Fabio that time, back to half a second again. Still blinking away every now and then. And I see that there's been a change of a lead, so Saber is down into second now. Quite fortunate there that my position just allowed me to cruise on by. So he gathered it back up fairly happily, hasn't lost too much time, less than 2 seconds behind now. Right, so just want to try and make sure we run some consistent laps and don't get drawn straight back to those 2 guys now. Fabio's just dropped back to 5th, so he's lost 2 spots. Okay, good. So, yeah, Fabio's 2.5 seconds back now, and then so in 5th position is Lewis Penhall. So it's him that we need to keep at bay, really. A little bit early getting on the power that time, but there's a little bit better braking point for turn 2. We've been a touch early for a few laps now. So Phillip Island's a great little circuit. It does flow pretty nicely, and the elevation change, of course, for Luca Heights is adds an extra dimension to it as you're trying to balance the throttle as we go through each lap. I think I hadn't really driven around Phillip Island very much apart from the F1 car. It's possible I've only ever driven the F1 car around here before this week, which is, yeah, a bit strange for this type of circuit. Also not really what you'd associate with F1 particularly. Right, so let's do a talking through the lap next time by with us, trying to just make sure we're keeping our concentration up, not letting my mind wander and building this gap to the cars behind, which we managed to do a little bit last time by. Hopefully Lewis and Fabio are going to keep swapping now. Right, so coming down the front straight, we've got turn 1 ahead of us. It's going to be 6th gear, could be in 5th as you go through. I leave it in 6th as you've been noticing. Just rest my foot on the brake as I turn in to get my nose into the apex, and then it pushes out wide very easy. Braking pretty much on the curb here for turn 2, down 3 gears into 3rd. That was probably a little bit better, just letting it come out slightly on the apex, not holding that line right on the curb quite so much that time. Flat out through this little kink here, and then hardest braking zone then on the circuit, down into 2nd gear. Just about make the apex. It's not too bad if you take a slightly late apex there to straighten the car up. Down 1 gear, and then just balancing the throttle slightly as we're going through. Didn't quite get the line really on that one, ended up pushing out much too early. Flat through the kink here, and then down a gear and just balancing the throttle now as we crest through Lukey Heights, just trying to stay close to as close to the curb there as we can. Ended up drifting out a bit too much, hard on the brakes, down into 2nd. Managed to get the curb a little bit better than we have done on previous laps. A little bit of a left, and then hard on the power, and then the final corner, 5th gear, just a slight lift again. Turned in a bit early really, which I think I've been tending to do in this race, but particularly on that one. And then that is a lap of Phillip Island. So 1 minute 27s we're running at a minute. What was that one? 27.5, so a couple of tenths off the previous lap. We've now got a back marker coming up, Dimitri. So again, as much as I'm keen not to drop down the order and lose any positions, I mean Lewis has gained a little bit of time me on that couple of laps. I do need to keep focusing on just making sure I'm getting this safety rating and not getting tangled up early on the brakes here. He says as he let's go early on the brakes, and he overshoots and misses the apex completely. Dimitri very kindly gets cleanly out the way. Thank you, sir. Right, so yeah, negotiated that quite happily. Looks like we've got no one else to worry about now for a little while. The leaders are 7 seconds ahead as ACOS is in the lead still. Just trying to balance this throttle again. Let's stay closer to the curb this time. That was better. Hear the ABS working overtime as you're on the brakes going down the hill there. And just much too narrow on the entry to the penultimate corner there. Just couldn't have the apex speed that we should have had really. So yeah, we do need to stay on top of this because Lewis and Fabio are both within 2 seconds. Not really anyone else behind then to worry about after them. Tiny bit early getting onto the brake going into turn 1. Down into 3rd gear. Hard on the power, just pushing out too much. Lost loads and loads of time there. So Lewis is right with us now, less than half a second as we get to the hairpin. That was a silly one. didn't get the line at all through there. Just had to wait much too long before I could get on the power, so it wouldn't track out to the edge of the track too much. So that was a little bit of a better line initially on the entry, but again it's just trying to have stayed off that inside curb a lot more than we're managing to do in this race. And we've lost Fabio, so I think that must have been coming through Lukey Heights maybe. He's 7 seconds back now, so it's just Lewis that we need to worry about, and he has closed right up on us as our pace hasn't really been quite where we wanted. Just a little bit slow on the apex, so I think not surprisingly it just caught Lewis out a little bit, but he looked like he managed to deal with it okay. So we've only got 4 laps remaining, I think, so we're ticking off pretty quickly. We need to say just a little bit of this consistency, and hopefully then we can hang on to this podium spot. Missed the apex well and truly there for Lukey Heights. We've got a reasonable run through an ultimate corner there, and hopefully this final one as well. Okay, good, so we managed just to get a little bit of breathing space at the end of the lap there. Yeah, so 5 minutes remaining, so not long now until we see the checkered. So resting on that brake as we turn in, on the power just a tiny bit early, just about get away with it. Just about get away with the power, well not power slide, lift off over the steer as a mid corner, but Lewis now is going to be with us for the hairpin, so we're going to defend.
On your left. Still there. Still there right next to you. Clear, clear, clear.
Okay, cool, so just about managed to hang on with that inside line. Oh, not so easily through there though. Able to get on the power okay. Let's just make sure we don't leave a door open through Lukey Heights. That'd be a tricky place to pass. We're all okay. I just felt the need to come off the brake a little bit there as I saw Lewis take a much faster entry speed. Right, just be careful and get a good exit out of these corners. This is what we need for the front straight. Not really like that, that was pretty poor. So going to be under lots and lots of pressure into turn 1 and then turn 2.
Left side. Still there. Still there.
Ooh, close as you like. Great driving by Lewis there. Oh, I brake a little bit late. Ah dear. Right, let's try and get out before Fabio, who's not far behind now. Fabio's going to be carrying lots more speed. Yeah, it was a shame. It looked like Lewis went a little bit hot as well. He was right out to the edge of the track, but if I had braked a little bit earlier anyway, then of course we would have been a bit further behind him. He wouldn't have been in the way at all. Right, so yeah, it was a shame. It was good going into turn 1, but just much too optimistic in turn 2 there. It's a shame now that we put us straight back under pressure again when I could have just tried to have settled in behind Lewis and just had an easy last couple of laps. So I'm thinking it's just 2 laps remaining. so got a good exit, good run through the penultimate corner there, so managed to gap Fabio pretty comfortably. So nearly a second gap between us. Pretty poor through the hairpin there, just didn't really get the apex through the second half of the corner at all.
Hustle around a pit this time.
Right, so it's the penultimate lap, and poor Fabio there just spins out the final corner and takes all the pressure off me for the final lap at least. Yeah, final lap then. It's nice and calm, make sure we don't get any more off track. Shame we got the one incident a minute ago, but easily could have been a 2 times. I was quite surprised I managed to keep it pointing straight. So yeah, 4th position here is not too bad. One incident, I said I'm just after that safety racing really. It's good fun battling with Lewis there for those couple of laps. So just a shame I didn't need to go so hot around into turn 2. I mean, what was I going to do? Go around the outside, so it's just yeah, playing it safe. And then if I had done that, I mean, he ran very wide through the inch of that corner anyway. I might have had the opportunity to get a run straight back on him again, but never mind. Could have turned out a lot worse, so we were fairly fortunate really that didn't end up in the wall or anything. Fortunate as well that we've not had the pressure from Fabio on his last laps or so. Right, nice and gently through penultimate corner. One more to go. Again, we'll have a big old lift and just make sure we're not making life hard work for ourselves. And then that would be the checkered flag. So yeah, good fun little race. Pretty close company from another car the whole race really. Fabio mostly, and then Lewis there at the end.
Checker flag.
Yeah, shame we didn't get a podium, but it was
Good job there,
good little fun trying to hang on. Congrats podium. Well done. What was his name? That's embarrassing. I've forgotten already. Lewis. Well done, Lewis. So yeah, that was good fun. I'm thinking. Let's have a quick look at my laps. I think I was a bit off. Really, what I was running yesterday. Maybe not too much in the second half race. The second half lap times are pretty much what I was doing yesterday. A couple of very low 27s up to 27.5s. So maybe just the first half we took us a bit of time to settle in and get into the rhythm of it. I'll use the excuse of having just run straight home from work and had a couple of minutes practice before we needed to record. But that was good fun. Right, so that was Phillip Island in the GT3 Challenge. Don't forget, for those who are interested, the World Championship Series is racing at Road America this Saturday, 2 o'clock GMT. That's round 4 of World Championship Series. Unfortunately, not available, as I said earlier on with GT races as well. Yeah, this is my last one, so I'm hoping that's the only. I'm not going to miss any more races in the World Championship Series now. I should be available for every other one, and try and get on the grid. We've had, say, 3 rounds so far, and I've yeah, not managed to get on the grid for any of them, but say only actually been able to qualify for for 1, or attempt to qualify for 2, sorry, into Lagos and Suzuka. Let's have a quick look at Neil getting past me on the lap there. Let's just look on board first of all, since they're there. Oof, right up with me. You obviously can't see this monitor quite as easy as I could, but yeah, way too late on the brakes there. But say Lewis, same thing as said. If I had just taken that nice and steady, I think then probably would have been straight back through. I'd think probably would have cut up the inside quite happily. Let's have a quick outboard lap before we finish up. Let's go for that one. Yeah, Lewis came across a little bit there on the approach, but all good. And then yeah, both went in very, very hot there. So yeah, no mind, say it could have been could have worked out a little bit better, but could have been a lot worse as well. Let's see if the points are updated, just out of curiosity. It's not going to be massive strong points or anything, I wouldn't think. 154 points, better than nothing. Good bump to my safety rating. Hurrah, that's more comfortable again. Cool. Right, okay, so that was episode 7, guys, and we shall see you next week, I think, for... Where are we at next week in GT3? Zolder. That's the final race of the season, week 12. Cool, alright. Cheers, guys, see you next week.